you need to really keep yourself open to beauty no matter where you might find it. You know, I mean, you have to be open to that beauty everywhere. So it's just being aware that we're surrounded by it every day, even though sometimes it may not seem that way, but we are, you know. The philosophy, I guess, that I would use for art is that I want the viewer to be elevated. I want to take them out of where they're at in that day. And in the same way, like when you go to see a movie, in a way, you want to move your audience. So I guess the purpose of when I do art is to move my viewer and make them feel something they weren't feeling when they stepped in to see it. I can't think of a more beautiful subject for me to work with. And I want each piece I do in a way to tell a story. I want it to evoke an emotion from the viewer. So I want there to be drama and emotional content to each piece I do. I'm taking garbage, as far as the town's concerned, and making something beautiful out of it. So that I really like. And to me, each piece has an incredible intrinsic beauty, you know, and just the fact that, you know, I could be working with wood that's like 300 years old for all I know sometimes, you know, so I mean that is another reason why I really enjoy working with it. I ride like 2 to 3 horses a day. I spend most of my time watching them and studying them. So to do them in wood is kind of, it lends itself to the muscle and the movement of a horse. It's very easy to translate that with the driftwood. I've been doing these horses as wires since I was little. I have a friend who showed me how to make them out of wire. So we spent hours. I had shoe boxes full of them. I mean, just that they've been a part of history at every turn, you know, in good times and bad times, in war times, in times of victory, in sad times. I mean, the horses are always there kind of with us through all those things in our history. And I guess I just think that we can never lose our bond with that, you know, because it's part of who we are, really. I like the wood because it's a very natural material and a benign material. If I, like myself, if you get ill working with the toxic elements in art, I had to work with something that was more natural. So I decided to work with the driftwood, and it just has the natural feeling of the muscle of a horse, or the grace of a bend of a horse, their neck and their knee or their. So it was just a perfect medium for me to work in. I look for mostly curves. I need lots of curves because that's what gives the horse its grace and its movement. I have to have all 4 feet on the ground, but I still want movement, even though they're just standing in place. So that's why the driftwood is just a naturally beautiful medium for that. And most of the wood I use are, you know, laying all over the shores, like in Kingston or in the Germantown area of New York, and the towns gather that up and burn it. So I get to use it before they burn it. I run up there early in the springtime to grab as much as I can. The river washes off all the bark, and it puts on the wood the kind of like the rhythm of the water is in the wood, which it flows like water to me, and because the horses flow like water, it kind of is the perfect medium to use with horses. Yeah, I do think about where it comes from, because sometimes I find wood that's been chewed by a beaver, or I might find it from somebody's dock or somebody's fence, and I'll use those pieces too. I'll use everything I can find out of the river. So I'm gonna get it dry, then we're going to dip it and soak it in stain, then dry that, then I will start building. And I use powder-coated decking screws to hold everything together. And then once it's together, I have to color match each screw head to the wood it's on and paint each screw head so they disappear. And then we stain it again to seal it. So that's the process in a nutshell, how it's done. The hand-painted pieces will take me a year to do. So I'm always working on them, like at night after everybody goes to bed. It's quiet, I'll sit down, I'll paint for a while. But most pieces take about 3 months to do, the big ones about 3 to 4 months. This piece behind me is done with themes of music, and I wanted to go through the entire history of music and include quotes from composers and composer names right up until, you know, Elvis Presley and the Beatles. And so it starts from the very beginning, which began with a monk in a monastery who developed the first do-re-mi scale. A lot of my painted pieces have messages in them for people, just stories for people to read. And so like there's one piece I did, you know, mostly women I've had women come up and go to tears reading different things. Like I have one that I worked on for 2 years with high school and middle school students, and I had them write messages to the soldiers, like thank yous, and talk about, you know, how they feel about them. And so that's in the piece. So when you stand back, you see a horse, but as you get up close, you start to read the words, and as you read the words, you get the whole story that the horse is telling. Inspiration doesn't just come from one place. I mean, it comes from everywhere. It comes from, you know, wanting to do nice things for my family that they will appreciate, or from just watching a horse. And I mean, I'm just always stunned by the beauty of the horse, and that was like the beginning of my inspiration for the art. Was I just love them so much, I just wanted to draw them in every way and sculpt them every way possible. I guess to sum up the relationship of me, wood, and horses is that I love the horse. They're just like, they're in my DNA. I mean, I've raised my family, so in a way our family identity is tied up in the horse. And I love creating art. And so because the wood is such a beautiful medium to work with and translates so well to the body of a horse, the two of them just kind of marry really well.